going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Second Guessing with Stressin. I'm your host, Garrett Williams, aka Texans commenter. And yeah, I mean, it feels like it's so long in between streams. I go weekly, but with the way it is right now with training camp, man, it's like for me personally, like there's a lot happening day to day. So it's good to be back. I wish I could start doing this more, like with maybe some brief updates in between, but it's also good too, though. I mean, it makes for a lot of good talk for us to all catch up and ask each other questions or get our thoughts out there, all that good stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been we're almost. I'm not sure the exact days we are as far as camp goes, where we're at, but you blink and we're already pretty far along. So we'll just kind of do it like we always do. We'll just weave in and out of comments. I'll go through the timeline, get us caught up. I'll go over interviews that have happened. That's probably my biggest thing is I like the interviews the most. I like listening to them and kind of analyzing stuff. I feel like you can kind of catch on some things. And so that's tough with practice pretty much every day. That's 2-3 interviews a day when I don't talk for a week. So we'll try and get through most of them, but shout out people in the chat on IG. Gianni says, "Yo, what's going on, bro? Thanks for tuning in." But yeah, just as always, as a reminder, if you don't, follow me on all platforms. It's either at Texans Commenter or at Houston Stressans, STRESSANS, on X, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. I got the website, HoustonStressans.com. I've been saying I'm going to start writing more, get the newsletter going. It's just there's too much stuff going on, content. I'm going to streamline that and get those things rolling. But, we're getting close to the season. There's a lot of good storylines. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people asking about, CJ Stroud and the offensive struggles. I guess I can kind of talk about that now first, just to kind of elephant in the room. You follow all the great, local beat reporters we have, and you see a lot of reports about, sacks or picks. Am I concerned? No, I'm not concerned at all. My guy Engineer's in the chat. Shout out Engineer. He says, "Yo, yeah, I'm not concerned. I mean, I think there's multiple things to consider. I think the offense is being painted as playing worse than what it is. I think the offense has actually played pretty well. Like I went to a couple practices, and then you can get a good sense from following all the beat reporters, which I do. Everyone that's there, I read all of their tweets, and so not everybody sees the same thing. Like you'll read one person and it's like, offense is terrible. One person, offense is great. One person, they're okay. And vice versa, just on all different aspects. And that's not a knock on each person. It's just a reminder that, hey, not everyone sees everything the same way. So I think with that, I can kind of like formulate what I see. And then obviously, some clips get put out there, whether it's public or not. And you can kind of analyze to get an idea. And then, John Harris has the Harris hits. He provides some good insight there. So, to me, I think, yes, there's been interceptions and sacks, but I think the O-line has been doing pretty good. I think CJ's doing good. He's doing good things. Obviously, the big thing is the defense is elite. To me, it's the best in the league, and that'll become apparent by season's end. But I think they'll be historically great. I think they'll be mentioned, as long as they stay healthy, among one of the best. I think they're that good. So that's not an excuse. That's just a point to point out. Other things to point out is, they're rotating guys. This is camp. This isn't like a game. They're not going into like, hey, we have to beat the defense today in these 12 reps to win the game. It's like you're using this to get better. So like, some coaches actually like the adversity, actually like you being put in disadvantageous situations so you can make mistakes and you learn them now and you can improve on them come, time when the season starts. So I think that's a big part of it. Yeah, they're rotating guys. Like Higgins is number one on the depth chart, which the depth chart is the depth chart. It's not really, they have to do that by formality for the first preseason game. But as far as, Higgins, like he's probably going to start, and it says it on the depth chart, but he hasn't really taken a lot of reps with the ones. He's kind of rotated in and out. So like Hutchinson's been getting a lot of reps with the ones. Guys like Justin Watson have been in there. And so that's something to keep in mind. The defense hasn't really rotated quite as much. They kind of know their, defensive starters. So that's a big part of it. And anytime you're in a camp too, like it favors the defense, especially the longer it goes on, because initially too, it's a new offense, so you're installing, and you still, whether it's a new offense or not, you still install the offense in phases to make sure you master the core principles and then kind of expand off of that. But when you play the same defense, they see you running the same thing. That advantage goes to them because now the players may be called to be in a certain zone or coverage. But if they see this formation, see this motion, and you only run so many plays, after so many days, they catch on to it. They can start jumping routes. They can leave their assignment. They can start playing instinctual despite their play call, which on offense, you can't really do that. You can't just leave your assignment because the defense is doing something different. So there's an advantage that way. So there's a lot to it. You could say it's excuse making, but I don't think it is. Like, I think it's also like the day and age we live in, the prisoner of the moment. Like, we only have so much to go off of. So, if you're tracking it that day, bored at work or whatever, and you're seeing the play by play, it's like in that moment, it's the biggest thing in the world. But you realize that this is training camp, this is practice. I think it'll be much more different. I can't wait for us to have these preseason games. I don't expect a lot of us to, or a lot of starters to play in the first game. I wouldn't expect. But really, like, I think the big time for us to evaluate how we look will be the joint practice. That's your best look. And like I said, too, when we're going against our defense, that's not how it's going to be during the season. And you can say it for the defense as well, but like more so for an offense. Like, an offense is the one that needs to really, see what that defense does that week. And I know the defense can do that too, but like a defense in a training camp environment where neither one is game planning, they have the advantage in that sense too. So that's a big part of it. But I'll get to the chat. We got guys piling in. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Miss you guys. A week is too long. Henry Jack says if Christian Harris doesn't stay on this Texans team in 2026 NFL draft, should be Harold Perkins Jr. in the first round or second round. Hey, man, it's thinking ahead for me, but I wouldn't be against it. Get D'Amico, extreme talent at linebacker. Kenny Allen on Facebook. Shout out Facebook fam. Do we think we have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl this year? I think we do. I think a lot of people in the chat probably do. I definitely think we do. Henry Jack. And also, how do you feel about the Carlos Correa returning to the Astros? Oh, I love it. So, I mean, obviously, I talk all Houston sports. I love it for a lot of reasons. We need another bat. He's going to play the hot corner on third for us, and he's been playing well for Isak Paredes. He's been hitting well for us. He's a leader. That was like when we lost him, like the thing I missed the most about him, him going up there, being mature, the one taking control. So I think that's a huge addition, as well as the other guy, Sanchez, and I forget the other guy's name. I've been so locked in on Texans, I haven't been able to watch the Astros quite as much, but I feel like they did good in the trade deadline, and I think they're in the right direction. The pitching will be fine. They're getting guys back. I think the Astros will be primed for a run, and I think they're starting that run right now. So, engineer says the Lions with the best O-line in the league, and Ben Johnson went 5 INTs. I think CJ being average is positive. And so, are you saying that? Oh yeah, against us. Yeah, facts for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, if you have a dominant line, the rest is easy. So that'll be interesting too. With Ben Johnson, obviously they went and got guys, but I don't know how that'll work out. But his point is like, hey, they played in a game the best defense in the league, went healthy, and that was probably like the peak of that defense, and that was the best offense, one of the best offenses. Jared Goff, MVP candidate at the time, threw 5 INTs, more than he had the entire season. So yeah, I'm with him on that. That grumpy guy, year 3. I agree. BG, shout out BG. He says, hit that like button. Yep, I'm bad about that. So if you're on YouTube, if you want to get comments across, the best way to show them on the screen and for me to read them would be on X, YouTube, or Facebook. So do any of those 3. But if you're on Instagram or TikTok, I have to kind of veer off to the side, but I'll definitely get to you. Shout out Nasha. He says, salute. That's my guy. Thanks for tuning in. Dot says, do you think we should sign Brandon Scherf? I don't think so. I mean, I think if they wanted to get somebody like that, they would have gotten him. I think they're comfortable with the guys they got, especially relative to last year. I know there's like concerns about Ed Ingram. Obviously, the last training camp practice a couple of days ago in Greenbrier in West Virginia, Cam Robinson went down. It sounds like he may be back. Today was a walkthrough, but he was out there dressed with the sleeve on his leg. But once that happened, we had seen like a kind of consistent rotation of the O line, which was Cam Robinson left tackle. That was Lakin Tomlinson left guard. That was Jake Andrews at center. Him and Jarrett Patterson still battling it out, but it seems like Jake Andrews has the upper leg as far as what we see from reps. Right guard had been Titus Howard, and then right tackle had been Ariante Ursary lately. But when Cam Robinson went down, they moved Ariante to left tackle. They moved Titus back out to right tackle. And then now they've been rotating guys at right guard like Scruggs and Ed Ingram. And then the other two have kind of been the same. So, people are seeing Ingram's name come up and Scruggs come up. Nick Chubb, had a good day the other day. And a couple of the inside duo runs that he had were, behind Ed Ingram and Juice Scruggs. So those guys were doing good in the run game. And so, we'll see how that shakes out, but I don't think we should sign anybody. I don't think we should sign Brandon Scherf. Like I wanted him before, but if they didn't get him now, it would take to me an injury on the interior for that to happen. But I mean, who knows? They could. And he also says any concerns about the amount of interceptions that are being reported or CJ struggled to connect with Nico. No, I'm not worried about the interceptions. I mean, like I said, the best defense, best secondary, best D line in the league, new offense. So some of the ints can likely be miscommunications. An offense that's more empowering for receivers and quarterbacks to go off the initial route, so that be on the same page. You got some bad throws. You get some play calls that are dead calls and the coverages that you can't move just because the way it's designed for practice because it's simplified. You have the defense jumping routes because they know the plays. I'm not. I know people are, but I'm not concerned. That grumpy guy, BLESSAN, let's go. Thomas Quintero on Facebook. The Texans are one of the best teams in the NFL. I agree, man. I'm going to get to the TikTok chat. Shout out TikTok. We got, let's see, Gail Castilla. Who are the main Texans rival? It'd be Colts and Titans. I guess the Jaguars too, but I would probably say it's the Titans and then Colts. And then I think the Cowboys is a rivalry too. For me, my wife is a Cowboys fan. Unknown Sports Teller, when are we going to have joint practices? It's next week. There's only one of them, I believe, that's public. So I don't know if they're having multiple, but I'll be there. It's against the Panthers. That'll be fun to watch. And then let's see what we got here. Lawrence Cross says 8-14 Panthers. Yep. So that's next week, 8-14. Orlando J. Defense is so stacked. I forgot we had Christian Harris and EJ Speed. Yeah, man, the defense is super stacked. To me, the linebacker room is similar to the tight end room in the sense that it has sneaky depth. Like linebacker room, you got guys like EJ Speed, Christian Harris. If he came back today, albeit a walkthrough, so did Damian Pierce. So you would assume that you see them at practice tomorrow. But you have obviously Aziz, and then guys like Nick Neiman are being underrated. I think guys like Jake Hansen are underrated. I'm trying to think of other names I'm missing. Obviously, Henry T's kind of underrated, under the radar. Jamal Hill's a developmental piece that could be emerging as a good piece. We run a 4-2-5, so most of the time in a base nickel defense with two linebackers, is all you have on the field. So, and that 4-2-5 and having 6-7 guys that are viable, that's pretty good. I think the tight end room too is we're all starting to realize it's a pretty sneaky depth there as well. So, Ethan, how much will the offense improve this year in your opinion? I think it'll be drastic. I've been like bold and courageous in this, and I get why a lot of people think I'm crazy for saying it, but I still think the same. I'm not swayed by what's happened in training camp, like I just mentioned before. My beliefs of why the offense can be better, which I said they can be a top 10 offense easily. You've seen Zach Robinson, who's the OC for the Falcons. His first year was last year, come from the Rams. Same Sean McVay tree, which also, Kaylee's going to be different. He'll have that and, Josh McDaniels, New England. But he came in and turned them to a top 10 offense. So I think we can do the same. That's with Kirk Cousins. Michael Penix, who played later, but Michael Penix, I'm really high on him. But, I think they could be a top 10 offense easily. And, it's pretty simple logic. And I think a lot of people would agree is if this O-line can be average, this could be a top 10 offense. Or will be, in my opinion, and this will be a legit Super Bowl contending team. And to me, to be an average offensive line, it's not going to take a lot. Like, they were probably bottom third last year, but my logic is last year the offense sucked because of the O-line and the pass protection as a whole. It wasn't just the O-line. It was the tight ends and the running backs also in pass protection. And 80% of that was mental. And that was because of coaching and scheme. Like we had guys just running by us. And so like we've identified that issue like, hey, we got to get ourselves in the right position and get the basics, the stuff that's not physical, the mental, the communication stuff down to where, you have 15 times a game where you have these lapses. Let's minimize that to one or two, and get people who are reliable and we can trust. And then on top of that, now you got the effort aspects. And then you also had, from the O-line standpoint, there was a little bit of it was personnel. It was mostly left guard, right guard. It was Kenyon Green, Shaq Mason. They're gone. They were probably the worst two guards in the entire NFL last year. They're gone. Now it's like the next guy up just by walking in is going to be an improvement, not to mention the scheme and all that stuff. So that's a big reason for me. I'm not changing because of training camp because I'm seeing stuff happen. The O-line has actually looked pretty decent. I mean, and it's hard to tell too. Like, we're going off reports and no one can really see, no one has film to break down. So it's also like, hey, let's reserve judgment. Like, I guess I can be a hypocrite because I can, see a play and hype it up in that sense, but then I'm saying reserve judgment on the negative side. But, once that's why I'm excited for the preseason. We actually have film that we can go back and see. And even then, we're not going to know the full picture, full play, but you'll have a better idea of who was wrong or who got beat. And even then, too, I don't imagine they play the ones quite a bit early on. So it might take a little while for that. But, so my logic, Nick Caley, way better play caller. I talked about it last year, and some people said, "Oh, you're assuming you don't know," but like CJ Stroud did not have control last year. He was not making checks. There were not hot routes. So there was very few receivers didn't have the ability to adjust routes that often. He wasn't setting the protection in the pass and the run game. And now we've had like 15 clips from D'Amico, Caserio, CJ of them of Kayla. Yeah, he has control. He has ownership. Like I didn't have it last year. I got it this year. Like that's a huge part of it. And to me, he's a very cerebral quarterback. Like all of us know, like I've watched thousands of interviews with him from Ohio State on and press conferences, podcasts. He knows ball. Like he'll talk through coverages and this and that. Like he knows what the hell he's doing. Like, and he did more of it, oddly enough, in college than he did in the pros. And that's what got him drafted number 2 overall. So now he's going to go back to that. He gets to be the field general and be in control. So he's going to thrive. The offense will do great. I think the O-line can marginally improve. I think they can be a top 15 unit for those reasons I mentioned. I don't think that's tough to ask. I mean, half of it is just lining up right and effort. And then I even mentioned coaching, like on technique and fundamentals. You can now have Cole Popovich. Everything you hear about him is great. And then you listen to him talk. It's like all the right stuff. Titus talked today with Sean Pendergast. The mindset has changed. Yeah, I mean, and then also too, like, interior pressure is way more detrimental than exterior pressure. So maybe we have a slight dip on the exterior, but now the interior solidified. Okay, now CJ can step up into the pocket and out or run. So that's a big part of it as well for me. Yeah, it's just I'm very high on the offense. I mean, I'm probably much more optimistic than most because I know what I've seen. Like with Stroud, like the dude is a fucking baller, bro. Like you don't watch. I had the same thing with Nico. Like when it came time for Nico to be extended, there was a debate to extend him or not. To me, it was like this is a no-brainer, especially at 24 million APY. Like he's going to be a bargain. Like I saw him dominate. I've seen it. Like he's good. And then you start, oh well, like it's only 1 year. Like no, like he's good. Same with CJ. Like we've seen it. He's good. He's really, really good. Nothing with him has changed. He didn't just get worse. Like he's still that guy. So now everything around him's better. He's going to be what he was and even better. So that's where I'm at. I'm not letting, practices sway any of that. So shout out Mr. Optimistic, my guy. Salute. Nosh says, I wish Panthers were on our division or conference. Would be a fun rivalry. Yeah, it would be with Bryce. I like Bryce too. He kind of got, a rough start. It's funny how he was like the laughing stock, and now people are trying to say he's better than CJ, like over like a 3-4 game span. I do think he will be good. They got him some weapons. I do like Dave Canales. Henry Jack says after the 2025 season, Texans to draft more O linemen, left tackle, right tackle, and RB either first round or second round. Yeah, I'm not thinking that far ahead, but I'm sure that's the plan. I mean, a lot of the guys they got, they kind of posture themselves that way where they're, veterans on 1 to 2 year deals. So yeah, I could definitely see that. EMAC, would you be surprised if they cut Mechie? No, I think maybe he gets traded for like a 6th or a 7th, but um, ever since they signed, when they signed Barrios, I was saying, hey, this could be writing on the wall. But when they drafted Noel, it's like, all right. And like, and he's like, yeah, like there's still stuff, but like he's been here. I know he's had the injury and cancer, and I gave him all the grace, and kept last year I thought would be his year to prove it, and didn't quite take off. Um, we're in a phase where we're trying to win now, so at a certain point you can't just be waiting on potential. Like either you're showing it or not. Which he's started to have a slow camp, but has been having good days from what we've seen since then. So, but I think it might be too little, too late. And then the fact that he's not really viable on special teams, that's a massive part of it. Henry Jack, should DeAndre Hopkins be in the Ring of Honor? Yes, but not yet. We got to wait till he retires. That's years down the road, but yes. Julius Harris, what's good, bro? We blessed and smash the like. Appreciate it, man. Shout out Julius. J Dog, my other homie, says, what's the point of having Trent Brown on the roster if he isn't going to be ready at the start of the season? I mean, he's on PUP. I mean, you had to sign him. I mean, otherwise you just would have missed out on him. So he'll be back when he's back, but he's coming off that patellar injury. So, I mean, he could be back by the start of the season. I would suspect he's probably back sometime in the next 1 to 2 months. That's just a random guess based off of what you heard prior about him. I think he started working out, stuff like that. So now he's getting back in shape. But I mean, he's been in the building since the spring. He's been a viable asset as a veteran, helping the young guys. I mean, that alone, I know it sounds cheesy, but it definitely has value. That grumpy guy, if I could have any team in the AFC South, it would be the Seattle Seahawks. Why is that? You like their colors? They got some cool uniforms. Jerry the Barber, what's your biggest concern for this year? I mean, obviously everyone's going to say O-line. So, I mean, that's like probably the only answer. But I guess biggest concern outside of the O-line would be biggest concern. I don't know if like this question is meant for like positions or things that could happen. Biggest concern outside of that would be, I don't know. That's tough. Like maybe defense is going to be killer. Kaimi maybe potentially regressing in playoffs. I mean, I don't really know. That's a good question. I got to think about it. I haven't really thought too much about the negatives. Cali Cal, my guy, says, my boy, what's good? Henry Jack, should DeAndre be in the Texans Ring of Honor? We addressed that. Nosh, the offense will click. Most of the struggles about in the camp is just blown out of proportion. I agree. That's my take. I mean, we've seen it. And I should say too, like on this show, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I said, and I could be sounding like a hypocrite when I say this, but last camp, we kind of saw what we saw this year, but it was way worse from what I recollect as far as the defense just dominating the offense. What we saw the entire camp was O-line, pass pro struggling, and defense balling, Kamari balling, and that carried over to all be true. We played like a joint practice against the Rams, and we got dominated by the Rams D-line, and they were a bunch of rookies, so we didn't know if that was a fluke, but that ended up being a good D-line, and we ended up having a bad O-line. So I was saying, what you see is what you get. And so I think it still holds true. I don't think it's as bad as last year as far as, defense dominating the offense. And again, you get different opinions. So some people say, yes, this is like this. And you don't really, I guess there's certain people you kind of realize think like you, and you can kind of like align yourself with them as far as analysts or reporters. But with that being said, as far as, addressing being a hypocrite on that, I think there is a difference too. And this could be excuse making, but, comparing last year's offense versus last year's defense. One, the defense is better. Two, that was year 2 in that same scheme coming off a great year. So it shouldn't have been a massive drop off. Whereas we're on the other end where this is an offense ascending, learning new stuff, new personnel, rotating guys. It's a different approach. We're not, we're doing like 4 or 5 reps at a time, 1s, 2s, 3s, 1, 2, 3s, 4 or 5 reps. It's not a lot of reps. You're trying new things. It's a whole new offense. So like again, this could come off as excuse making, but I say that to say, my initial point about most things you see in camp, kind of like last year at least, extrapolated out to the remainder of the year, which I think it will, but I don't think like the picks and stuff are going to be crazy. I think a big part of it too is run game will be big for us, and so it's early. Um, I'm saying, let's see how they look in the preseason, and the biggest thing will be that joint practice. El Heiss, yeah, I agree. The ability to adjust routes and have a feel for the game as it goes on could have major improvements for CJ, especially when he has Kirk and Noel, some speedy receivers. Yeah, so something I've been talking about is in this Josh McDaniels offense. Um, I guess this is a mix of like New England and Rams, but it sounds like it's going to be more so, the Patriots, because there's been multiple times where the Stroud's talked about watching Brady clips, and all these players get interviewed, like Titus or whoever else, say like, "Oh, this reminds me of playing in the Bill O'Brien offense." Mechie said that too when he was, in Alabama with Bill O'Brien, but which isn't a bad thing. I know that name kind of scares us, but Bill O'Brien, not a bad play caller. Bill O'Brien, kind of an asshole head coach. Bill O'Brien, terrible GM, but play calling was not terrible. And so, but the big thing is we talked about on here, but the slot receiver in that offense, they call it the adjuster. The F position means they have the ability to adjust their routes, and most offenses have it to a degree based off the route and coverage, stuff like that. But like, this is like a lot more autonomy, and you typically have one position that's like allowed to do like whatever the hell it wants, because if the other one does it, they can kind of run into each other. But a guy like Christian Kirk has done this before, and knows where he needs to go, and so it's also like IDing the coverage, IDing the leverage, IDing blitzes. But it's the way you see it and the way the quarterback sees it. So Kirk is probably helping Stroud, but and there's not necessarily a right or wrong. It's just like, hey, and it probably defers to CJ. Like, I want to do this. So, hey, when you see that, you do this. And so him and Kirk, that's why they got Kirk. He is a true slot receiver. He will be highly productive. He will be CJ Stroud's security blanket. He now has a guy, depending on coverage, probably most coverages, he can just look straight at him and he can get open, and he'll know that he will do what he expects him to do. That being said, there may be some hiccups, but that connection right off the bat is going to be rock solid. But also, too, the fact that Kaylee is versatile and moving guys all around. You're now moving Nico to the slot. You're now moving Jaden Higgins to the slot. Guys that are not in the slot as much are getting more reps in the slot. But not only that, they're getting reps in the slot that they haven't gotten more often. But now when they do go to the slot, now they're allowed to be cerebral and be that adjuster. So not only are they learning, new routes and new position, but they're also learning, new ways to read and adjust. And then again, that ties back into Stroud. So like each receiver, he has to build that chemistry and rapport with when they play that adjuster or have the ability to adjust. And it takes time. Like these hiccups happen, and it's a good thing. And so that's why I've preached that Berrios is valuable and why he'll make the roster as a seventh receiver. Special teams is the big reason, but the knowledge part for the slot receiver is super massive. I suspect Mechie doesn't get it down. I think that has kind of hurt him. So having a smart receiver in the slot is a big thing. Christian says, "Be blessing on this fine evening." Shout out Christian. He's a Titans fan, but we got good discourse. He's a good guy. Cali Cow, O-line concern still. Yeah, it'll be a concern until we see it. All this stuff. It'll be for all of us, for O-line and offense as a whole. Like, we can sit there and project. But right now, I'm just basing my overall view off of the OC, who I believe in, just from what I've seen and heard from him and all the others, off of Stroud, off of the moves they made, adding depth at receiver, the running back room, and the new guys on the O-line. Like, to me, it all points as it's going to work. Cal says, CJ is a dog, no doubt. Defense, O-line, protect that. Ain't been something, would be a nice surprise. I don't know if y'all can hear that. My dog in the background, he's snoring. Henry Jack says, should the Texans sign Micah Parsons if Jerry Jones pays him, asking for a trade? That's tough, man. Like, him and CJ are boys. He's a top whatever talent in the league, top edge rusher. We got Hunter. It would cost a lot to get him, so I don't know if you would. I wouldn't be comfortable trading Hunter for him. Maybe we get him next year if he's a free agent. If he goes into this year without a deal and plays, uh, the capital would be crazy. I'm sure they're asking for like a one and at least one or 2-1, something crazy. So let me hit a couple comments back on TikTok. I think on IG we're caught up. Did I miss a couple on IG? Carson Sanders, yo, what's going on? Shout out Carson. He says, "What's your state of mind, blessing or?" I'm always blessing, man. What about you? I'm always blessing, man. Texans football is back, dude. Training camp is like sneakily like just as fun as parts of the season because you're kind of figuring the whole puzzle out and like there's all these moving pieces. Um, and he asked how the D tackles are looking. A couple names that I've heard a lot, through John Harris or others. A guy that's not talked about enough is Tommy Togiai, someone who came on late last year. He wasn't some big sexy name. He was just kind of a under the radar, signing. He's been balling out. He's one of the most consistent guys. I feel like Sheldon Rankins, I'm not at practice, but like I've seen clips and kind of observed some stuff. I feel like Sheldon Rankins has been having a good camp. And then Tim Settle's had some times where, he's balled out. So I think the interiors look pretty good. You watch clips and see stuff. Shout out Jerry the Barber on IG, GOAT. I think we're all caught up on IG. Spicy Smith 5. What's the top five defense this season? Are we in it? Yeah, it's the Texans. It's probably the Broncos. And after that, I haven't really dug too much into it. I'm sure you could throw the Ravens into there right now. Which, I mean, I don't know. The Ravens had a weird year last year with their pass defense. But it's Texans and Broncos, man. I think the Texans are the best. XJ says, few more weeks, fellas. Facts. We'll be there before we know it, man. We got preseason coming up Saturday. AJ Gray says, throw up those H's. Let's get a Texan swarm. I love it, man. We're getting hype. We're all in this together. I might try and throw some more watch parties. I also might try live streaming some games. Just real quick, if you think that'd be a good idea. If I were to live stream a game, would y'all be down? I've been talking to a company that's like a new pilot company, but they have a way to where you can watch on their site or you can watch on here. But they have like a software where you can time it up with your TV, and so there's no delay. And I think they have a way where you can watch on your phone and like maybe it does both. But they got some cool stuff, so I'll try that out. So if you think you might, do that, let me know. I might try like a sample one on one of these preseason games to see how it goes. But normally I like to lock in, but I think I'm sure y'all are just like me. Like I'm hype as fuck on game day. And that would be cool if I were to stream and just be myself because like I'm intense, bro. Like big play happens, I'm up like yelling, I'm like, chest bumping stuff like that. So it would be dope to have a stream and y'all could see my reactions. But the service would have like real time clips to where as soon as the play would happen, you would have my reaction. I could post it right away. So I think I'm gonna try it out. Let me know if you would be interested. Shout out Huncho Johnny, my guy. I hope you're doing good, man, on IG. A couple of comments on TikTok. Joe Mo, let's go Houston. And then we got JJ Boy, who's going to be wide receiver 2. It's going to be Christian Kirk from a production standpoint. He'll be highly productive in the slot. He's a slot magician, slot magic, slot demon. He's gotten those nicknames from all the Texans players like Nico and Christian Kirk. I mean, obviously Christian Kirk is him. Nico and Kalen Bullock's been high on him. Nash Shahid says, what would be your version of the AFC South? And so that would be you just get to pick any teams you want, or just, I like the geographic stuff because it makes more sense. But like if there was like teams we could play all the time, I guess part of you wants to play the shitty teams, which we kind of do right now. The AFC South, I think it's one of the worst divisions, but I think the Cowboys and Texans should be in a division. That'd be dope. And Saints, that would be dope too. I think the geographic one would be good. And then I don't know who else would be in there geographic wise after that. But yeah, I think those two for sure. For sure the Cowboys, but yeah, that would be dope. Engineer says, I think the offense will click, but the O-line decision made over the offseason was still suspect. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they didn't go the approach I thought. I thought the interior was the big issue, and I thought the exterior wasn't. And even after we traded Laramie, I thought we still had options at tackle. I thought they would go and get like a legit guard and center and or both, and they kind of went with like mid or average guys. But I trust the process. Again, that's them, saying, hey, that shit was all Chris Strausser, and that shit was all Bobby Slowick, is what they're saying. And then it was all Kenyon and Shaq Mason, basically they're saying it was those four people and we're good. So I agree. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think the scheme alone, getting CJ more involved, and I haven't talked about this too. Quick game. Quick game has been prevalent throughout practice. The two practices I went to, ball out quick. Like, you would now allow and give CJ the chance to do it. And that's something we called for all season last year. And we got a little bit late, too little, too late. But like, hey, that's how spread offenses are created. Like, all these teams in college that run spread, especially smaller teams, or even in high school. It started in high school when I was in high school. Like, teams run the 2-minute drill, and you're like, oh shit, that was pretty good. Like, yeah, because you're spread, you're up tempo, you're getting the ball out quick. And it's done because when you have an inferior O-line, you run a spread offense. When your guys up front can't block, you get the ball out quick. That's what you do. And we didn't see it last year. I think we might see it more this year. And then I guess I meant to say this earlier too, is like the reasons why I'm confident the offense will be better. More gap scheme. Our O-line is, even still with the changes, that's bigger, mauler type guys will probably still run some wide zone, but not nearly as much. But they're more of the downhill run team, and that's what they've talked about. That's what they want this team to be. And then, if the run game improves to be average compared to what it was last year, and, maybe creeping up on the edge of the top 10, like 13, you have less tackles for losses. You start moving the chains, you get positive yards. And the big thing was we're always in these second and long, third and long. So now you're in less of these situations where it's a known passing down. There's a lot of reasons why. The grumpy guy, sheesh, we own the Colts right now, and for us that's rare. Hey, yeah, I mean, the Peyton Manning years is payback. Cal says that's what I'm saying. The O-line would be a nice surprise if it can be decent. CJ's anytime. I think we'll be there, man. And then he says, what's up with Fisher? I don't know. I mean, so when that change happened, when Cam Robinson got hurt, that was kind of an indictment on Fisher, because Cam Robinson, left tackle, got hurt. They move Ariante to left tackle. Fisher could play left tackle. Okay. Well, now he'll play right tackle. No, we're going to move Titus to right tackle. So and then even then, I think with the ones, they started running Zach Thomas out there at left tackle too. So that kind of tells you what they think of him currently. And maybe that's just us dealing with what we have and overblowing it. But who knows? I mean, it seems like he still may be better than what he was last year. We don't really know, but we improved the depth. That's the thing. Like, so him not starting, obviously you want your second round pick to play in his second year or to start. But it's also not a bad thing in the sense that, like, maybe we just got better depth, and it's a good thing too that, like, hey, maybe we're not forcing a guy out there just because of his draft position. Like, we're going to play the best guy. And maybe he's not doing as bad as we think. Maybe, like, we've seen some clips and plays if you've been to practice, but there's still time. Who knows? But it is what it is. Like, give me the best five. I don't care who it is. Salvador Velasquez on YouTube. What's your take on the O-line shift? Titus a right tackle, Ingram a right guard. Do you think Titus should have stayed at right guard, at least build some continuity, consistency? Yeah, so I was shocked when I saw that. Because for me, like, for Titus, I've always been high on Titus. I feel like he gets over-criticized. I feel like he's been a pretty good player for us. And I was excited for him to finally have a off-season to prepare for guard the whole off-season. And then first injury happens, boom, back to tackle. It's like, luckily he's, a veteran, and now he's done this so much he can do it. But, like, I wanted him to really, like you said, get the continuity and the chemistry going, consistency. And so I'm hoping that Cam's back and he goes right back to right guard. But I don't know. We'll see. But I would prefer that. So I was surprised by it, but and it could just be experiment. They could come out tomorrow and just do a whole nother configuration. And so, I think Casario said with Sean Pendergast and Seth Payne last week on their show that the O-line will probably solidify itself after the Minnesota game. So we're almost there. But at the same time, like, when this configuration happened, D'Amico talked about it, which I'll play the clip later. And I thought this was awesome. But he says that, and this was what I've been preaching from OTAs till now, like when some people kind of, saw all these different configurations, this guy here, that guy there, and like, oh, why are we doing all this? Like, now is the time to do your homework. Like I've been saying, he said the same thing. See who can do what where. But he made a point that it's not only for the players to kind of be on their toe, like so to evaluate guys where they're good and not good at, get them practice. So later, if you need them, that's part of it. They've already done that homework. But the other part was, you know, keeping guys on their toes and seeing how they handle change. Like that meant the mental side. It's like the psychological side for the players and also for the coaches. He said it sounded like when that change happened, he walked up to Kaylee like before practice, like, hey, I want this guy here, that guy here, this guy here, like figure it out. Rather than just be like, hey, what do you like? Obviously he'll probably be a collaborative effort, but like I thought that was really cool that he has the foresight to, and I feel like this is him evolving as a young head coach, you know, especially when it comes to the offensive rotation, like guys like receivers trying out different spots and linemen trying out different spots. He experienced last year, inability to adapt. We have this set up. If it fails, we're fucked. And so he said, okay, that's not going to happen. We're going to do as much as we can when it's not the most important time, when we have like this free time to figure shit out. We're going to do as much as that. We're going to take advantage of this time. And I'm going to challenge my coach. Like, it seemed like Slowick, when things kind of fell apart, he didn't know what to do. So that's part of it too. So I thought that was really cool. And so I think, we probably could see some more changes until it solidifies, and it shouldn't be a bad thing, but, just something to note. One sec for the podcast for your listener drinking water. Talking a million miles an hour for hours straight, you get such bad cotton mouth. Jason on TikTok, do you sell purses? No, but I should. Enrique says, you think CJ runs a little more this year? I do, and I want him to. He was working on sliding, which is good. He needs to work on that. This is not my cat on TikTok. Hell of a name. 1 more month to football time. And I love that you said football time. I agree. We're so back. Someone's talking about something on TikTok. JJ boy, if you're giving away tickets on a training camp, just DM me on TikTok or X. I can give them away to somebody. And then Lawrence says he was at training camp. It was fun. Over on IG, my guy Johnny Huncho. Sorry, I saw your comment. Let's see. Johnny says, "What's up, man? Do you think the organization prioritizes the defense over getting help on the O-line for CJ?" I don't think it's like a concerted effort. They obviously did not think the O-line was as big of an issue as we thought. Again, I guess that's them. I mean, I trust them. Like they're the ones in the building. They saw the day-to-day operation. So, I was kind of like, why didn't you get guards, this and that? But like, hey, like my pivot since then is like, they obviously, well, maybe it's wrong and we won't know until later, but they obviously are taking this approach because of what they saw. And they saw that it was a flawed scheme, a flawed coordinator, a flawed O-line coach. We heard the one voice. Strausser was checked out. I talked to a Colts fan on a space the other day. He said Strausser did the same shit in Indy. Like everyone talks about how he was good in Indy. Like, no, his last few years there, like he checked out and they started getting beat by simple stunts and twists, just like we did with us. So I don't think it's that they're intentionally doing it. I think it's just, my take is like from observing Caserio, he's just like a very pragmatic guy. Like he's not gonna like where I'm like, hey, when I diagnose the team for the draft, I'm like, we need this, this, and this. We're gonna get this position no matter what. He's just like, I'm gonna take the best option and then figure it out. Like so, they kind of bet on coaching. Like, and so maybe it's tough offense defense if you have imbalances, but like they didn't like in the draft at least. They didn't, say, hey, we need this position no matter what. I think it was a little bit of that, but and so I guess to kind of answer your question, I didn't really answer it. They don't prioritize it. I think it just happened that way is my answer. And the defense, I mean, we did need depth in the secondary. It's also maybe part of it is, I guess I'm kind of backtracking. Maybe part of it is D'Amico is a defensive minded head coach. He has a way he wants to win games. And I feel like a lot of us still don't get it. And it's just tough given the day and age of what we're in football. Like We want points, outscore people, and you need that. You need that ability to do that. But D'Amico wants to win games, dominant defense. Uh, Offense, he wants a boring offense with run game, ball control, field position, and take deep play action shots. Well, we should have that this year. That's kind of how San Fran has been. Like you have, the ability to be explosive, but like that's the way he wants to win. And then he says, "Have I heard anything on Nick Chubb?" Kind of worried. I hadn't. I saw people were speculating there was a walkthrough today, and Nick Chubb wasn't there, and so I think Cody Stute said he had noticed he walked out the day before with the trainer. But then Sam with the Chronicle said he assumes it's a vet day, so no one really knows. Rich M says Laramie Tunsil trash. ESPN doesn't know how trash he is. I thought he's not as bad as he's getting hit for, but I mean he definitely has some frustrating moments. Houston Concrete Artist says sup Stressins, O-line trash. We act like we want to win, but we don't have pieces. Give it time, man. Give it up. I mean, give it time. So like I get it. Everyone that has the concerns has the same ones. Easier said than done. Like we see stuff here and there, but like let's see how it shakes out. Let's watch. Probably the second preseason game we'll probably get a decent amount of starters from the O line out there, is my guess. And if it sucks, then start worrying. Even then, for me, I'm not going to start worrying because it's still pretty vanilla, especially in preseason too. You're not going to come out and run a bunch of exotic stuff. You're not really game planning. You're running. You're working on your stuff, your bread and butter. So, and then he said, "What's up with Mixon?" To me, Mixon's fine, bro. I think he'll be good for week one. That's my guess, but I think he's more than fine. And then shout out Brandon, says Swarm. That grumpy guy says Swarm. Christian, the dog is already having nightmares of CJ getting sacked. Nah, we're good, bro. Chill out. King Colby, shout out King Colby. Texans don't need Parsons, especially with Harris back. Grumpy, we ain't worried. Nosh, any updates on Fadikasi? That's a good question. So we need him. He is our only true nose tackle, one tech, run stopping D tackle. That is a vital piece. I assume he's being treated like these other vets, just like Chubb. I assume he's fine. We know what he is. He's a vet in his role. He'll be fine. So haven't heard updates, but we need him. We saw what it looked like without him as far as our run defense. Henry Jack, should the Rockets sign Russell Westbrook, reunited KD in Houston? I'm out, bro. I think we're good. We got plenty of players. I love Russ, but not at this point. And then Grumpy says, yeah, I do the live stream for the games. Dope. I'll check it out. And then J-Dog says, you Chugs and Ruben need to do a collab live stream. Yeah, so I've done watch parties with Ruben and been on his stream. I would love to do a collab with Jeremy. That'd be dope. That'd be tight. I'm kind of behind on here. Nosh says, go for it. Kyle says, hell yeah, let's do it. That'll be fire. Live stream the preseason game. And I was thinking too, like, I had the interview with Cecil Shorts, and we're talking about doing like a series this fall, like every week, like a 10 to 30 minute episode of like recapping plays from the game and kind of breaking it down. But if I start live streaming games, like I could have him come on like as a guest, and like it's like the Manning cast, but like actual Texans fans. And so if I were to do it, I'm not going to do the play by play. I'm just going to react, and it syncs up, and we just watch the game together. And I'm going to test it out. But like the way this guy told me this thing works, like even if you watch the game the next day, you can go, you can pause my screen to sync up the time and watch it whenever. It also has like a no spoilers chat too, so it knows whenever who is where, so you don't see the chat spoiling stuff. It's got some cool features on it. Texans versus whoever, says Grumpy Guy. Henry Jack, how do you feel about Chris Paul returning to the Clippers and reunited with James Harden in LA? Yeah, that's dope. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever win a championship, but I've always liked Chris Paul and James Harden. I think they'll be good together. Jalen Edwards Smith on Facebook, do you think the ones will get any playtime this weekend? My guess is no, just based off of the history of D'Amico. I don't think they will. And a lot of teams probably don't do that. Ethan, thoughts on the RB room with Joe Mixon currently not participating in training camp? I think we're good, man. I mean, I think Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb, bro. Like, he's, early on there were concerns about him, like pads weren't on, and he's still coming off this injury. Like Nick Chubb, the pads come on, like he's a power back. So I think Nick Chubb will be great for us. I think Mixon will be back for week one. And then after that, Dameon Pierce, came back. It kind of sucks for him being out while Mixon was out, this could have been a chance for him to really, improve himself. But uh, Pierce, I think, can be viable too. Like he played good for us last year. We project to run more gap scheme, the more downhill stuff that suits him. I think Jawar Jordan's solid. He's probably on the bubble, but Woody Marks is solid. He's obviously one of the best receiving backs, but I feel like his run game is underrated. Like size don't matter, especially in this offense. Like you've seen, like McVay, like he'll play whichever guy gets it done. So Rich Boy Jay says, any updates on Jalen Reed? I did see today from Aaron Wilson that he said it was like a 2 to 3 week recovery. It's an ankle injury. So King Colby says 3 to 4. Yeah, 3 to 4. Good looking out, chat. And then Rich Boy Jay, have they run any design runs for CJ and Camp? I don't think you would run any design runs, but I do feel like from what I have observed, it has been a concerted effort, which I've been asking for. I wanted this after year one, and it's because I watched that playoff game against the Ravens in the divisional round in 2023. He was always going for the home run, and they were daring him to take these 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 yard runs and slide or get out of bounds, and he just wouldn't do it. And so you kept getting in these second and third and longs when you could have been shorter. And he started to do it last year a little bit more late in the year. But he finally started doing it. He's not used to it, and he's like awkward sliding. But, they had him working on sliding, and then you watch these clips or go to practice, like, it's about quick, decisive decisions. Like, don't always go for the home run. Like, be okay with, and that's a battle for any quarterback, especially young ones, especially young, talented ones. You want to try and, just light it up. But like, if you drop back and you see there's an open hole, just run, go get 5 yards, slide, get down. That's it, And so I think that there are no design runs, but they're making a concerted effort to have him run and make quick decisions. Just like I said, like if it's there, take it. Engineer, they went the Bengals route a little, get a bunch of help with the weapons, LOL. Henry Jack, should the Texans keep Stephon Diggs? Should they have kept him, re-signed him? No, I like the route they went. He's coming off the ACL, but he's a beast. I got a lot of respect for him. They kind of timed it up perfectly. He kind of had some of the off the field stuff, which really wasn't, much of a big deal. But no, I like the path they went. Engineer, Jalen Smith, a dog, LMAO. They have loaded that defense to the brim. Facts, dude. What a steal in a late round pick. Shout out my guy Lance Shepard. What's good, bro? I'm still working on the super chats, man. Like YouTube is giving me hell, but I'm gonna get it soon. He says I'm ghost watching, but I'm here. I appreciate you, fam. That's my guy. Timothy, Brandon Scherf, and Will Hernandez. Anyone? Not yet. King Colby, Henry, what you on, bro? Rich Boy J, who are you most excited to watch this weekend? That's a good question. So it'll be backups. Maybe some of the rookies, like Jalen Smith. I'm sure he might get some run. Woody Marks will probably get some run. I'm sure Jawar Jordan will get some run. That'll be excited to watch. I'm sure Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins might get some run. Those guys will be fun to watch. I don't know who they'll put out there at O-line. Those are just EJ Speed if he's out there. I don't know if he'll get run or not. Jamal Hill will be a fun one to watch. Yeah, so there's some good names to watch, man. Yeah, British Brooks says BG Woody, and then he says I want to see Dameon Pierce. I do too, but like this is just like last year. It's like we want him to, like, we've seen 3+ years of him, 4 years of him. So it's like, what's going to change? We've seen 3, like, so like all of a sudden it's going to be different. He needs to go out there and show it, but like, I guarantee you, like, he may have been ready to come back and they just babied it, be like, hey, you chill. We know what you are. We already have an evaluation on you. We got plenty of tape on you. Let these other guys get some reps and then we'll check it out. So I'm sure it'll be the same. So I don't know how much run he'll get, but we'll see. I'd like to see him play. RJ, will our O-line be better this year? Kind of worried since we lost Tunsil. Yeah, we talked about it. I think so. Call me delusional, but yes. WBF Gonzo, is Chubb good? Why didn't he practice? I don't know. I mean, my guess is he's fine. I mean, I feel like if there was something major, we would have like saw the reports at practice when it happened. My guess is it's a vet rest, or maybe he had something to go do. Who knows what it was, but Nash Shahid says Davis Mills masterclass. Davis Mills is disrespected by so many people in this fan base, and some people laugh at you when you say he's good. He's been good the whole time. one of the top backups in the league. He has been balling all camp. He's been balling, dude. And so obviously he's going against the twos, but Mills is nice. Quit sleeping on Mills. HTX feared the beer with the H's on TikTok. Him says Ursery or Fisher. Ursery easy. Let me see. We're good on IG, and we'll hit the timeline. Let's see real quick. Lone Star Sports. Hey, just wondering, how is my boy Tank doing? I mean, I don't really know. Like, I see he's in good spirits at practice. Knowing him, he's ahead of schedule, so I think he's doing good. Let's see. I hit up Tank. I said we should do a live stream sometime, and he liked the comment. So I don't know if that'll happen. I see he's like streaming today on Madden with what's his face? What's the freaking guy's name? Twitch. Why can't I think of his name? I'm such an idiot. The guy, the streamer on Madden. What's up, brother? He was playing with him today. So let's see. 1 second here. All right, let's go to the timeline profile. And we got a ways to go back, fellas. It's been a week. A lot of content's been made. Rich Boy J. Chubb probably has general soreness. That's a good guess. Yeah, and we should all freak out about it. Henry Jack. Should the WNBA bring Houston Comets? Yes. Back to back, like the Comets. The ESG and Slim Thug song right there. All right, let's see what we got. I don't know where to start. Should I start like now and work backwards, or backwards and work forward? You know what? I think if I go to my profile and just click media, I'll get all the videos. That sounds like a good idea. Let's see. Man, I post too much, huh? What's crazy is as much as I post, I could post a lot more. Like, there's so much more stuff. It's nonstop. Yeah, that's not going to work. I need to go to my timeline. So let me share my screen. Shout out Tony from Houston, my guy, and TikTok. All right. X, share. Okay. So Aaron Wilson also said that he left to the trainer, but not to be a big issue. Good to know. And then how do you feel about Madden NFL 26 on Nintendo Switch 2? That's dope. If I had more time between job, kids, and this, I would play Madden. I used to love Madden. I think it'd be dope to stream playing with the players because I know they all play. That would be dope, dude. Maybe I'll have to try to get that going. But I love the Switch. Cal says, you think Ursery getting a run? I don't know. That's a good question there. Like, he's a rookie. He needs the reps. He might. I hope he does. I hope he does. But I feel like D'Amico in this first game, but last year we had an extra game. We played name game. So that's a little different. Maybe I'll have to go back and look at the first year. But I just feel like the way he handles guys coming off injuries, preseason, training camp, like he's really like, I'm going to wait and be like, he's not pressing guys out there, but we'll see, man. And so, we'll just start right here. Just watch random stuff. Oh, this one got some good. This is Iron Sharpens Iron. They dropped like the video on the Texans YouTube. It's like our own little Hard Knocks. This is Justin Watson talking about D'Amico Ryans.
Nice job. Y'all be aggressive right there. You get that? Today I need a play. Today.
He starts every morning by saying the same thing. Good is the enemy of great. You hear it in everything he says, that we're not going for good. We're not just going for division championships. We're going for the big one, and you can feel it in every meeting Coach D'Amico runs.
All right. Nice job. Y'all be aggressive right there.
Yeah, so that's great. Like, you talk about putting a bull in a ring. Like, I love that, like, he has this mindset, and he's like, and it's real too. Like, I feel like he hasn't been able to say this the first year, and like maybe he said it the second year, but now like they all know, like, we can legit say this shit and it'd be real. Like, it's not just like, yeah, it's a Super Bowl. Like, no, like, let's go win that shit. And so that's good. So now, like, he's gotten like, hey, y'all want to win it? Okay, I'm gonna hold y'all to that standard. Like, we're gonna go crazy. King Colby says Henry low key trolling. Hey, Henry, my guy, man, he's chilling, bro. He likes talking whatever, man. This is what, like, for me, this is like we're hanging out. Like, everyone here, we're hanging out. Like, we're just shooting the shit. I'm trying to have 1,000 conversations simultaneously. It's fun. And then, yeah, Nosh says thoughts on Ed Ingram helping on the run game. Yeah, so shout out Texans Jacob. He pointed out, that Ed Ingram is good in the run game. So, there are pros and cons. Guys have different skill sets. We'll see how he can do in the pass blocking. But, yeah, I mean, I say let's give him a chance. Like, we all freaked out when we saw it, but, like, hey, let's see what he can do. Shout out to Tariq Herrera. Noe Gutierrez, what do you think about Higgins? He looks fast for his size. Yeah, he runs a 4.4, dude. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. He's been having a great camp. He has showcased his range, great ball skills. If he's covered and you throw a ball away from his frame, he's open. And if you throw it high, he's open. So he's really good at using his size, and he's fast. I think he'll be great for us. But yeah, that video with D'Amico is dope. And then over on TikTok says hat bill look like on the Sandlot, LOL. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it does, like real flat. Yeah, it's like your mid-30 white dad hat is what it is. It's actually from a golf course I played in. Was it in Virginia? Yeah, Ballyhack. And then Island Boy says hype for the season. Facts, me too. Greggy says Woody Marks gonna be a stud. I agree. Edward Guzman will Stover play a bigger role this year? Yes, he will. Absolutely. They're high on him. He's having a great camp. He will. And then I'm high. Great name. Says any thoughts on O-line man Eli Cox? We haven't heard much from him. I will say I noticed him when Aaron Wilson posted that video of the O-line doing the drills, which was awesome. He seemed to get some good push on that. So, I mean, that's one little snippet I've seen. I haven't really seen him play, but I know he was like a good, undrafted, selection there. But we'll see how he does. Cal says you played 2K. I have not in a while. I played the playground thing a couple of years ago. So I used to play a lot of video games with Jadeveon Clowney. That's my homie. We used to play a shitload of Fortnite, Call of Duty, and NBA 2K. And that dude would play till like 2-3 in the morning, wake up and go do his thing the next day. But yeah, so no, I don't have time for it, man. But yeah, so I'm going to try and make this graphic right here into a t-shirt. BLESSAN. I'm going to get some more merch dropping soon. If y'all have any ideas of stuff y'all want, let me know. I'm going to try and get some like, whatchamacallit, H-Town Blue stuff. But yeah, Kalen Bullock's been having a great camp. Obviously, he's a ball hawk. He could be an all-pro this year. I think he could be an all-pro. I think he'd be a Pro Bowler for sure, potentially all-pro, honestly. And I think Kamari is a Pro Bowler for sure, potentially an all-pro. I mean, we have – okay, I don't want to get too crazy, but the obvious ones, Stingley has the potential to be an all-pro. He was an all-pro last year. Will Anderson Jr. has a potential to be an all-pro. Danielle Hunter has the potential to be an all-pro. That's 3. Kamari Lassiter has the potential to be an all-pro. That's 4. Kalen Bullock has the potential to be an all-pro. That's 5 players at least. And that's not like, I don't know am I crazy for thinking that those guys have the potential to be an all-pro? I think we could do something crazy this year, dude. Let's see. And so here's CJ Stroud mic'd up from the Texans. That's a long video. Let's see here.
Here you go, man. Let's have some fun today, man. Football meant to be fun. Let's have some fun, baby. Gang on 3. 1, 2, 3.
When we think about more raises around the National Football League, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better guy than C.J. Stroud.
He's the only one who can get into the upper echelon of AFC quarterbacks with an unbelievable year. I think he is a guy that is on a trajectory that, to your point, will put him in the elite amount of quarterbacks.
Yeah, we on you today. You know I don't even talk like that.
Oh, you might
Not in my belly. You know I love you.
Love you too, twin. Have a day, baby.
You too, brother.
How much have you seen CJ from when he first got here to who he is now?
CJ the same guy he was from day one. Calm, collected, leader. The leader he is. That's what you expect from your quarterback. But I feel like this year, man, he's on a mission every day to get better, just like everybody else.
Yeah, I feel like I've grown a lot. Just spiritually, physically, mentally. So I'm just grateful to have a coach like D'Amico who promotes that, and then family and friends who support it, and teammates as well. So I feel like I've grown a lot.
Yeah, Rich Boy J says we need a new 713 shirt with CJ and Kevin Kirk. I got that in the works. And then I have one that I've made with CJ, Alman Thompson, and Jeremy Pena too. So I'll have that one. I got a bunch of stuff I'm gonna drop. I got some Astro stuff.
You know, CJ is like a natural leader, someone that's going to talk to you a lot, someone that's going to tell you when you're doing things good, someone that's going to help you when you're doing things bad. So really just more so learning the person that he is and, you know, his character.
Stop a little funk on it. You're right. I'm going to put it on you. Just depending on what the guy is. If he's like undercutting, it'll be like this. I'll give you more air if I do that.
It's just getting on the same page and, you know, seeing it through the same lens that CJ sees it. And the quicker we can, you know, both see the same thing at the same time, and even the other receivers, the better we're going to be. You know, if we miss something, communicating what either of us could have done differently, and then, you know, either get it off to the side. I think it's just evolving communication.
So that's what we were just talking about, the adjuster role. And so what about this idea, Rich Boy J? I just thought of this. What about a Captain Kirk shirt with Christian Kirk as like a pirate? Is that too cheesy? Any ideas y'all got, just let me know. I can make it happen.
Oh, like buzz. Yeah. Let's have that conversation. I think I like that. We just got to be on the same. We can snap it down, treat it like. We just got to be on the same page.
That way you still have a throw. And it's one thing that me and him really talked about is.
You see him and Dalton Schultz talking to snap it down, treat it like Shea. They're talking about leverage or coverage right there.
You know, hey, did you like that? What would you prefer? Did you see this? Did you see that? Because like I just mentioned, it's just getting on the same page and seeing it through the same lens.
I think it's an opportunity to grow there. I think every year, you know, as a leadership role, I can learn a little more. I think that gives me another edge. You know, if you change a player or do something good, guys are okay. We can trust this guy. So that definitely helps leadership. Positive plays, man. Here we go. Positive plays, man. Let's go. Alert. 118. What's that? 118. What's that?
Positive plays. Don't get stuck behind the sticks. That's the name of the game.
Here we go. 118. What's that? 118. What's that?
Great job. From that quarterback perspective, you want that ownership. You want it to be on your plate, so to speak. And CJ, he's looking forward to it. He's open to it. He wanted it, and we're here.
Base, catch, boy. 118. What's that? 118. What's that? That's all football is playing catch.
Hey, nothing more, nothing less. That's a great example. Don't try to overdo when things get tough. You know, just do what you're supposed to do.
I'll learn my lessons, brother. Thanks, baby.
Guys are competing.
That's Jerry Shaplinsky right there.
And I love
yeah, so that's dope. Also from Iron Sharpens Iron, here's Daniil Hunter on what swarm means to him. This was crazy to me.
Swarm, to me, means like to suffocate. Something just comes at you and you just have no breathing room. You can't really like get out of it. It's just too much. It overwhelms. That's what swarm means to me.
Like that dude's already terrifying, and then he like talks like that. Like, damn, he's like a silent killer. Dot says the one should have 1 to 2 series this Saturday. They have a new offense, new OC, new online, more reps, better. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. We'll see. I think CJ was asked about it today, and he said, "I'll do whatever they want me to do." You know. Sean Pendergast had a great interview with Titus today. Let me see if I can fast forward to the part that I liked.
In training camp.
I mean, I like the whole thing.
So when practice come, I don't feel like I'm out of whack.
Okay, so describe that to me. Your sets and your punch.
Where the angle is, I want to go so I can meet that guy. So we just go at it. Every one-on-one, every team period, we just try to make each other better every day. But like I said, our DNs are 2 of the best guys in the league. So, you know, it's only going to make everybody better at practice, and because you know you're going to get the best of each one of these guys every day.
We know you guys are installing a new offense, and obviously new offense.
So this is the part I like, about a minute clip. This is dope.
You know, Cole Popovich gets bumped up to offensive line coach. How's that been going? What's been the biggest difference for you guys from last year to this year?
I say as far as the offense, I kind of like played in an offense similar to this when I was with Bill O'Brien, the similar like play style. It was pretty good, and I like this offense. I feel like this offense fits me and my style of play.
I like this offense. I feel like it fits me and my style of play. Gap scheme, boom, downhill blocking, not this finesse bullshit. That's what he's talking about.
But as far as group, I feel like the number one thing I would say is the mentality. Like having more of a dog mentality up front and, not taking shit from no one. I think that's something we need.
Let's go, Titus. Dog mentality, not taking shit from no one.
Needed these past couple of years, and I'm looking forward to being a guy to kind of, lead the group and show them, this is how we want to play football every day. So this camp, I feel like it's been our best camp as the offensive line, especially running the ball, because we've been able to get these guys moving, especially these past couple of days. And we're just trying to establish that dog mentality. We're just trying to work every day. We're not focusing in on, just what people saying. They said we just want to get better for ourselves. And then once we put the work in on the field, everybody will realize, like, hey, these guys have been working hard this whole offseason.
Is that something?
Man, so Titus has like become the leader and he's embraced this mentality top down. Like they were aware that it wasn't what it needed to be. It's coming from Cole Popovich, D'Amico, Kaylee, running the ball. That's like, so like, we don't really see this in practice. Like just because we're not seeing big splash plays and we see 3-4 yard gains, like we want that. We need 3-4 yard gains all freaking day, dude. And that's what they're doing. Like they're running duo and gap scheme concepts downhill. And that's going to be our style. It's going to be a physically boring offense and keeping it, like CJ said on the clip earlier, positive plays. And then now you can hit the play actions. And now you get in these ambiguous downs, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3. You can kind of, get them out of position. I mean, we'll still be explosive and make plays off of that, but it starts with the run game. So, yeah. And then, yeah, Hunter is a scary MFer. I agree. Dot says, should we stop listening to rap on his reports about Stafford? I let's stop listening to stuff on everything. Like he's been the Mixon thing was crazy. He said we wanted DK Metcalf. We never wanted him. He just like the way he does stuff, like a little sleight of hand, like, and he's, suggested that I think it was Guyton, I believe, with the Cowboys tore his ACL. And then like a minute later, like, nope, not torn, bone bruise or whatever. He got like owned on that one, and then Stafford is like, oh, epidural and really, really bad. And then it's like the next 10 minutes, it's like, yeah, he'll probably practice a couple of days. Like, come on, dude. Engineer, I will say Titus never gave an arrogant vibe like certain other individual. Yeah, he's very humble, man. He's a very good dude, down to earth. So if you haven't, I would recommend checking that out on Sean Pendergast. Shout out Sean. It's like 8-minute interview. A lot of good stuff there, but talks about switching from guard to tackle and talks about CJ and basically said, whenever we gave him time last year, it was a great offense. So it's on us to block like we know he can do. We just need to block for him. So, that's basically what it is on that. And then the Texans signed Quintez Cephas because Johnny Johnson has been waived/injured in a corresponding move. He got injured the day before. Cephas from Wisconsin, former Lions player, was on the practice squad, or he was on the, training camp roster and played in the preseason last year. He's kind of nice. But he seems like a camp body. Streamer dude equals sketch. Yeah, I know that. I don't know why I forgot that. I'm showing my age. That was not intentional. I just had a brain lapse. And then Nosh Rap needs to put the fries in the bag. Facts. It just sucks because like we trust national voices, like when they share or insinuate something, it's like, yeah, that's the fact. Like the way society is, you just spread it right away. But it's like, okay, I have to like now, whenever you tweet, I have to stop and think, is this where like when like Schefter like doesn't really mislead you on stuff. Like when he tweets, like that's what it is. It's whatever. Kevin Harlan's calling the first game of the year. Let's see what else we got. Keep scrolling. Astros got rocked today. Eric Getty was back, but we'll be fine. Yeah, there's the tweet about Stafford being back. Pro Football Talk right after, or later in the day after Ian Rappaport says Matthew Stafford back is on track to resume on-field work in the coming days. Like, all right. And then here is Stroud from a presser today on these similarities. Let's see. Talking about, let's just listen.
Yeah, it's a little different just because, like, I know, like, more coverages. I know, like, style, trees. I know coordinators. I played against a good amount of, different schemes. So it's a little easier. And then, it's a lot of similarities from what Nick's bringing to what we're doing in the past. So it's a little similar in those lights, but it's not as hard as my rookie year was. like learning Chinese. This year is a little bit of that, but not as much. It's a little easier.
And so I don't know if that was because this offense is simpler or because like it was the adjustment from college to NFL year one, which I think is what he was saying. But I guess it was hard. They don't have the mics when they're in Greenbrier to hear the reporters ask the questions, but it sounds like how tough it is to learn in the offense. But yeah, I mean, here's Seth Payne. He says, "Look at this picture of Danielle Hunter, dude. Look at this guy. Like that's not real, dude. That is not real. That's insane." And then here was CJ about Nick Caley and Sean McVay.
And they talk the same, but they have the same like tone of voice, which is kind of funny. Like same energy. Like Kale's, he's like a little turned up. Well, not a little. He's a lot turned up. He turned up to the max. And I'm more of a chill guy, at least like on the field. So yeah, it's good. It's like yin and yang, But he helps me. I help him. I think. But yeah, he's very like Sean McVay like. And so when I met Sean last year at practice, it was very similar to like what I get now in practice or like in meetings and stuff.
That's awesome. That's good. That's what you want to hear. Sean McVay is a great coach, and then you want to see that he's energetic. And then here's another one. Shout out Jacob with this clip. Let's just listen to it, and I'll give you the analysis after.
Yeah, every day we're growing. We're, everything's starting to come a lot easier. We're starting to make more plays, know what guys are good at in the scheme, and trying to fit the guys to do those type of things. So, it's not overnight. So, our defense, they've been together for 3 years almost, like a lot of the same guys. So, they're making calls and checks quicker sometimes than we can, and then it's vice versa. So, I think it's good. We're one of the best. I think the best defense in the league.
So that's a good point too. Is this defense is like got great continuity, same scheme, and they're not in a install phase. Like this is like hitting the ground running where they can make calls and checks, and now we're still kind of working out the kinks.
And it's been hard, but it's also very great for us to get a good challenge every day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I watched one of Seth Payne's videos the other day. Shout out Seth. He's in up at Greenbrier, but he pointed out he was saying he had a conversation with Ben Solak, how do you say his name, the national reporter. But this is true. This stuff that we've talked about. A new offense, which I don't think they said this, but a new offense, especially with one like we're in with emotions, like we talked about, like on the Falcons. When I watched the QB series on Netflix, Kirk Cousins talked about all the shifts and motions. It was like a lot for him as a veteran quarterback. And I said, we got to kind of be weary of like, things getting, going haywire, motions messing up, all the procedural stuff. Cause there's a lot. And like, there's been none of that. Like, and they said that they observed like this was clean. And Solak said he'd been to other practices and all the new offenses have all looked terrible, like operation wise compared to us. So that's good. We run a clean operation. That's what we need. So that's that. Here's Jaden Higgins with Chancellor Johnson. I think he's on Jalen Noel.
It helps that you have a guy that you know very well in Jalen. How has y'all's relationship grown just since you guys got drafted to the same team and got to go through this process together?
Yeah, I think, we already had a great relationship. I was with that guy for 2 years at Iowa State. Just someone that I can lean on, someone that, is going to keep me accountable, someone I'm going to keep him accountable. But, of course, being drafted to the same team is crazy. Playing the same position is crazy. So it's just a blessing, really.
Give me a scouting report. What are the Texans getting in Jalen Noel?
Jalen Noel, I'll just say, I'll just give you one word, speed.
X.
It helps that you have a guy that you know very well.
At Chancellor TV on X, if you're listening. F it, let's watch the entire Will Anderson Jr. Top 100. I'm chilling tonight. Not chilling. I probably got to be up early, but still. I thought this was dope, how he comes out off the jump, showing, speaking up for himself, but he does it humbly.
Humbly speaking.
I'm so hyped, dude. Let's go. Man, Will is a beast, bro. All right. If that doesn't get you crunk, I don't know what does. Deion Dawkins could have been a Texan, says dozen 55 sweat. JJ Sugar, people are underestimating Will. Yeah, I agree, man. His stats could have been way better. I agree, dude. Shout out TikTok chat. Thanks for the comments and the gifts. Javaris ready for the season. Likewise. Let's see if I missed any else. Hamza Ursary starting at right tackle, official. I mean, I think it is, if depending on this Cam Robinson injury. Obviously, they had some shifts since then, but let's keep scrolling the timeline, see what we got. And so, yeah, practice today was a walkthrough. Johnny Johnson wasn't there. Obviously, we just talked about him being injured way. Dylan Horton, Jalen Reed, ankle 3-week recovery likely. And then, yeah, Sam Warren said, I have not seen RB Nick Chubb at Texans practice today. It could likely be a veteran day off. So, I mean, you get kind of this and that on it. And then let's see. Keep going. So, yeah, Benjamin Solak did. He had like 20 players to watch for in year 2. And he had Kalen Bullock and Kamari Lassiter on there. Hawk and Lock. And then let's see what else. Just kind of going back through the day. It's a walkthrough today. Did I not do? I guess I didn't do a lot of clips on CJ's press conference. So I have more clips I didn't get to post today, but there was some good stuff on there. I mean, we could just watch the like I could watch all of his interviews, man. Let's just do that. Let me go through what Nick Chubb was doing. Let's go to home. Let's see, profile, view your channel. Let's go to, let me just type in Texans, go to their YouTube channel. We can watch these two real quick.
Trevor
Christian
had a big
Kirk
arm.
talking to Josina Anderson.
Now, I'm curious, what's the difference catching the football from Kyler Murray to Trevor Lawrence? Did you have a little bit of Josh Rosen in there too? I did. Okay, so that too. Okay, yeah. To now CJ Stroud.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're all different in their own perspective, but
point it out to me though. What's the difference? Yeah.
Well, I think when you look at somebody like CJ, accuracy stands out. Mm-hmm. His ability to put a touch on the ball. Trevor had a big arm. Was able to make the throws down the field, and was also very cerebral as well. Kyler, just his dynamic ability, and similar to CJ, just threw a very friendly, catchable ball. And he, like I said, he can make plays with his legs. And then, Josh as well. Josh is a super smart guy, very smart. So they all had a big part in my development and me being here, and now really excited to work with CJ.
Yeah, that was Cap on Trevor Lawrence and Josh Rosen. But what stood out was him saying CJ throwing a catchable ball and being accurate. That was like when Stephon Diggs was on mic'd up last year. He's like, you throw such a friendly ball. That's an underrated thing, is like to have the arm strength to get the ball there, but also not just throw some, piss missile. And that's why his receivers produce and catch the ball, is because, he throws a ball that's easy to catch. Like, that's underrated. Let's see. And then we had another one from, this is a Z with Josina Anderson.
Well, first of all, we are here with Azeez Al-Shaair out at Texans training camp practice exhibit on the scene. It's been a while since I've seen you. How you doing?
Yes, ma'am. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just curious how your perspective has changed in terms of how you're entering this season when you think of all the things that you have been through, from not only the team side and just, a heartbreaking loss there in the division, but also everything that you've endured, from going from homelessness to making the NFL to, going through missing games last season to making the playoffs.
Really, my mindset just like, it's a new year. All of it was just growing pains. It's all learning and experience. And I think it's definitely just God set me up for something special, something better. So, the motto me and Christian Harris kind of come up with the group for the linebackers is just say less and do more. So the biggest thing I've been challenged.
I wanted to clip that. He said the motto that him and Christian Harris came up with was say less and do more for the linebackers.
Myself is just every day, walk the walk and not just talk about it.
And speaking of the look of the defense, what is going to be different about this year in terms of just standing out more in the AFC, getting along, further, and even considering, some of the injuries that you're dealing with, because you mentioned Christian Harris?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is kind of similar to what I just said. Like, it's just the work. Every year is different, and it requires something different to be that top dog. And so going into a season, you can have all these expectations, but it's just about putting one foot in front of the other and putting your head down and grinding. And, one thing that from a defensive perspective that we did talk about was, we had a lot of sacks last year, but just working on getting the ball out when we get those sacks. There's a lot of opportunities. Coach Rod had put up a presentation back in OTAs just about the different opportunities that we had where we could have, instead of just getting the sack, getting the forced fumble as well, and that could change the game. So
that's what I just talked about with Will. Like, they've been talking about that.
I mean, that's like one of the things that we're really trying to focus on just as a group.
And so full interviews on our YouTube, but it's, they're like 3/4. JJ Sugar asked about the starters of the Vikings. I don't think they will, but I could be wrong. I mean, I based it off of how we've seen D'Amico handle in the past. And then he says, hope we can re-sign Aziz. I agree, man. And then the Nika on TikTok, what's going on with Ward? Ward, the legal case is still pending, but he's also injured. He's on the PUP list. So it's, first he's on PUP, and then that comes after. And let's see. There's some stuff from Sarge and Seth. We had some good highlights. Here's a catch by Jaden Higgins right here. Let's see. Yeah, you can see his frame reaching out for the ball. That's insane. And then let's see. Here's a Nick Chubb run from the other day. Looks good to me. Good. I know it's one play from practice, but we're fine, bro. And this play is insane. This is insane. This interception from Kamari the other day. This is like all pro behavior right here. Look at this shit, dude. So it's like a hitch curl route by Hutch. It's hard to tell from this angle, but maybe he could have worked back to the ball. But Kamari's all over it. Gets the PB, tips it up to himself for a pick six. Bro, that's so clean, dude. That is so clean. And like, what that is like one trait that he has that is like elite for him is like he's a finisher. Like, he goes to the whistle and gives 100% the entire time. And that's how he got that pick. Most guys would have hit it and quit. Like, the ball. Like, no, he was going for it the whole time. So that's dope. Let's see what else. We're scrolling. So we got some press conference stuff or an interview with CJ Stroud and Evan Washburn. Let's listen to this.
Learning a new language, or are there things that you can take from whether it was last year, things at Ohio State, that work within the framework of this offense, or is this pretty much brand new for you?
I would say both. Like, there's things that I've done in my past in college and now, the last 2 years that we do here, but it's new terminology. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like learning a new language, but the same words, the same like principles of the words, just different words. Yeah. So, I think the systems are a lot similar, especially like the Ram stuff is similar to what we've been doing in the past. So that's pretty good. But it's not like completely different, but it's also not the same. So it's a little bit of.
Yeah, so that is good. So like, when these a good coordinator, when they go somewhere else, and that is a benefit of us being from the Rams side of it, where it's similar to the Shanahan, to where it's not going to be, like he said, completely foreign language or even concepts. Like, maybe some of the stuff we did with Slowick was good, then keep that. Like when Zach Robinson went to the Falcons, they were good at zone, so he kept wide zone. And so you just kind of build around your personnel, but it's good for learning. Like, he seems to be adaptive and collaborative. That is Nick Caley I'm talking about, to make it as easy as possible for the players. On TikTok, shout out Product of the H, my guy. Follow him, must follow on IG and TikTok. Shout out CJ Anderson, 713 Sports Talk. Follow him as well on all platforms. He said, I saw that Higgins was the starting wide receiver opposite of Nico on the first unofficial depth chart. Yeah, and so, D'Amico talked about that in the presser. He said it's whatever. It's protocol. They have to put it out. But, I think that's what it will be. Even though he hasn't been getting number one reps the entire time, which, again, you don't weigh into the reps. So Sugar says, Locksmith put in his work this offseason. I can't wait to see him take that huge step. I agree. He says Bullock too. I agree, man. They're dogs. Texans Cap. Shout out Texans Cap. The new cap space after The recent transaction, we have projected cap space of 12.8 million. And then here's another play from the locksmith. Let's see if I can pull it up. This one, people were saying it's a bad throw by CJ, but CJ threw left. It's man. He had Nico, a top 5 receiver in the league, one-on-one with Kamari. So he kind of predetermined, hey, I'm going to give him a chance on a go ball. Maybe could have threw it a little bit more outside, but he got such a bad release that he didn't really give him enough room to throw it. So just a great play by Kamari. And then I also noticed too, EJ Speed's been getting reps with the ones and making some plays. He's someone I've been, preaching on. And let's see here. This is more CJ with Evan Washburn. Let's get this clip going.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Not in the point of like winning or losing or success or failures, but it's like what I learned, as a person, as a man of God, as a teammate, as a citizen in society, in Houston, like, so I learned just a bunch. And I think, some of the best things that could ever happen are, expectations not being met, because then you really see who cares and who doesn't. And that's where you you can still extend love, but you don't have to give people access. So it just taught me a lot on just who's really there for me, who's not. And I thought, with what I had and what we dealt with as a team, I thought we did great. We're down on linemen a lot, changed a lot in the receiver room, with Tank getting hurt, Steph. And Nico going down early. So, with what we had, I thought we did a good job weathering the storm. But, at the end of the day, everybody has entitled to their opinion. And I always like criticism and stuff. I think it always makes me play better. So,
well, that
you could tell that he wanted to say in a bad play caller. But yeah, I mean, just the O-line and injuries alone to receiver was a big deal. But what's a great perspective, he, took it with the right lens, it's a learning lesson. It's not beating him down. So that's a great answer, in my opinion. DJ on TikTok, will you ever hop on with Landry? Yeah, I'd love to. I've talked to him before. I mean, I'm friendly with him, but I'm not sure that I've actually asked him. I don't know if I asked him to come on or not. I might have asked him, but I don't know. I guess they got their own thing going. I get it. But yeah, that'd be dope. JJ Sugar. I haven't seen any clips of CJ doing audibles or changing plays at the line. I've noticed it. He has been. I noticed it in person too. He definitely has more control, and they've talked about it. Another clip from the same interview. It's on YouTube. I would check it out. It's a good interview.
It's been good. He's somebody who is a fiery guy, brings the juice every day, has a bunch of energy. So, he helps us in that area a bunch, and very smart, knows, a lot about the past of where he's been in New England and LA. Is very knowledgeable about the game, and he wants to learn about quarterback. That's one thing I liked about him is he didn't come in just saying hey, read this way, read this that way. He gave me a lot of ownership on the reads and how we're gonna break things down. So that's been a lot of fun doing that with him. And yeah, it's been good though. I've been learning a lot. Watching a bunch of old Patriots stuff, so it's cool to see Brady and Edelman and Gronk, kill guys every year and, have their ups and downs with the offense. And they were in it for so long, so it's year one. So, we're not going to be that level yet, but we're getting closer and closer every day.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, the big thing to me was, Kaylee is a collaborative boss. He's not just saying my way or the highway, and he's taking stuff in, for everything from we heard from stories and what we saw, it felt like Slowick was my way or the highway guy. So now it's hey, why would you not ask the quarterback who's on the field, who's going to run the plays, what they like and don't like? So that's great to hear. And then, yeah, saying again, they're watching more Brady. So that's dope. Yeah. So the field general have command of the offense, option routes, all that stuff. And the Texans signed fullback / tight end Dalton Keene. He was with the Patriots with Kaylee and Popovich in 2020. And then here was D'Amico on, is this today, August 5th? This is yesterday.
And we had a really good day today at practice. I saw very competitive periods on both sides. We had a tough physical short yardage period today, and And it was a lot of back and forth. Guys did a great job up front, D-line, O-line. Those guys were competing and battling. That's what you see every day. Our receivers and DBs, those guys competing. Receivers making plays, DBs making plays on the football. We have a really competitive team. That's my takeaway from our camp thus far, and that's how it should be. So I'm excited just to see these guys go play against someone else. It is that time of camp where it's going to be a little more chirpy. You're going to see fights and scuffles happening, but it's just you get tired of hitting the same person. You get tired of going against the same schemes over and over again. So it's that time for us to go play a game.
1K Dono, appreciate you on IG. Says great content. Keep it up. Appreciate it, bro. But yeah, that clip there from D'Amico, I mean, that's my take too. Like, you know, like we want to like be like, oh, this side won, that side won, this side's good, that side sucks. Like, no, it's like a back and forth, and it's good. Like, it's good competition. I don't think that's BS from him. I kind of feel the same way. So, yeah, here was the video of CJ Stroud work on his slides, courtesy of Sam. He's still kind of upright. Get down, bro. But that's the whole point of that. We need to work on that. And so that's Sam Warren with the Chronicle, Sam Warren _3. He's got great coverage. Give him a follow on X. And then this was, I talked about this earlier, but I thought this was really cool from D'Amico, basically saying everything's an evaluation, not only for players and for coaches.
So I tell it, guys, everything is an evaluation. Like, and I mix it up on coaches like the morning of the practice, right, to see how coaches handle it, to see how players handle being moved into a different position, because as we know, we line up in a game, anything can happen, right? Guys are injured and your plans change very quickly. So how do you adapt? How do you adjust on the fly? So coaches have to be able to adapt and adjust well. Also players. Tay has done a really good job over at left tackle. We bumped Titus out to right, just mixing it up as much as possible. And that's not the only position. I mean, we move the guys around, linebacker, D-line. Guys are moving all over the place just to see, you know, what can guys handle. And that's the point of camp. We wouldn't be able to do this any other time throughout the season. So I put a lot on guys mentally in camp to see what they can handle.
That's what I've been saying, and I love it. And I can't help but think that he's learned as a young head coach, especially on the offensive side of the ball, to continue to do that. So here's another clip of Higgins making a play the day before. Down the sideline from Mills, went up and got it. Dude's a stud. So, yeah, I mean, on camp, though, it's kind of been, you know, back and forth. Defense has gotten the better of the offense the last 2 or 3 days. They had a fight. You know, it's been getting chippy between Schultz and CJ Gunnar-Johnson. I believe there was a fight between him and I can't remember who, Russ Yeast maybe, but it's that point in camp, you know, where things start getting chippy. Let's keep scrolling through here, see what we got. Here's some of the videos I like from Aaron. Trench work, baby. Shout out Aaron Wilson. Look at Cole. That's an O-line coach. Place your hands, accelerate your feet. Yeah, look at Cox. That's comes up at Eli Cox. That's a good rep. Got low. Basically saying replace your hands, move your feet. So like you don't just put your hands there once and that's it. Like if you get moved back to avoid a holding penalty, refit. So that's pretty cool video there from Aaron. Yeah, let's keep scrolling through any other videos. Here's some of the one-on-ones. It's kind of hard to see. I think that's good. Let me see if there's just some other press conference videos from prior days that might be good stuff to look at. Just scrolling. Here's a video of
really respect.
Pastor Tang.
Took the words out of Pastor Tang.
But Stingley is on his heels right now.
Stingley is so smooth.
It's like one's a super technician, and not that Pat ain't a great athlete. He's a phenomenal athlete. He does everything, but he's like, if you teach tape and you got clinics and you want to teach people how to play DB and what it looks like to be perfection and not frazzled in the game situation, it's Surtain.
Yeah.
You want to watch just a fun corner who just out there, great technique, great feel, great athleticism, ball skills, looking like a receiver.
Yep.
You watch things.
That's dope. Let's see if we got any more. This was a great interview with Sean and CJ Gardner-Johnson. Let's see right here.
Hey, it's Sean Pendergast. I'm here with Pick Six that you had today. So take us through the Pick Six that you had today.
So a couple days ago, we had a pick six, and this is him talking about it.
A new call that Coach installed, a new drop that we've been working on in one-on-one, not one-on-ones, and individual for the past 2-3 weeks. And finally putting it on the gridiron, and it's turned out to be a good result, so I guess we're going to keep that play in.
That's cool. So it was a new call. That's a good interview. He was chill, man. He was chilling. But the other notes were, let's see. And then he talked about, Sean asked him about, he's been on Super Bowl caliber teams that have won it, been there, what he sees from those teams that's on this team. He says, we got a good quarterback, good front on both sides. I know what they went through. Let me find that clip. He basically gives praise to the O-line.
Be the best in this. You don't want it. Who wouldn't want to be a part of something like this?
Right. You said last week when you did your media availability, you think this team has Super Bowl potential.
Yeah.
What's the teams you've been on? You've been on teams that have been to Super Bowls, been close to getting to Super Bowls. What's the if you had to identify like one thing, one trait in those teams that you see in this Texans?
Long got quarterback, good front, both sides. I know they went through last year with the offensive line. It doesn't matter. Seeing it in camp, I've been around a lot of teams. We're dominant on both sides of the ball front. And I think if we continue to dominate the line scrimmage, is what the ball is all about right now, we'll be fine in the future. And I don't want to speak on other people. I feel like our line on both sides again made a tremendous jump this camp. Especially with the guys on defense, from Will to D Hunt, right? Is that right? Mario, Tim. Those guys have been doing a great job of playing. We're just going to continue trusting them. And on the offensive side, we're doing a great job of kicking our butt some days. So
yeah.
Got to continue to fight at it.
How do you like playing for D'Amico?
Yeah, so it's a great interview, but yeah, so he's high on the O-line, man. He says, I've seen it here. He said, last year don't matter. It's a different year. See if there's any more interviews. I'm going to scroll down. Let's try and get y'all caught up on everything. And let's see if there's anything noteworthy. This was D'Amico talking about running backs the other day.
Our backs have done a really good job, man. Woody Marks has stepped in, and he's made some really nice runs over the past couple of days. Jawar is playing fast. It shows he's playing, and Chubb he plows behind his pads, and he's going to gain yardage. So all those guys collectively have done a really good job at the running back room.
Yeah, so that makes you feel good. Just going to scroll through a couple more, and then we'll go through the CJ interview here. So this is one thing, too, I've been talking about. It is kind of risky that we got rid of John Weeks for an undrafted free agent long snapper and Austin Brinkman, but here's D'Amico on him.
We're excited to have Brinkman, a young player. Anytime you have a rookie at the long snapper position, there's some growing pains that comes with that. But Brinkman has the temperament. He has the skill set to step in and do a great job. And the first thing first is to have great snaps. And that's what he's done. He's been very consistent with his snaps. All right, him and Tommy are working together. I mean, pre-practice, after practice, the work never stops with Brinkman. And for him, having two veterans and Tommy and Emi work with him to bring him along, I think he ended up in the best spot that he can end up in by having those veterans who's taking him under their wings and they're caring for him, making sure they're all on the same page. So really pleased with Brinkman, excited to see him get some action in the game so he can get, knock the rust off a little bit. It's a little different when the games come, but I think he'll do a really good job for us.
Yeah, so it'll be something to watch, man. The long snapper position, it's kind of risky, but I don't know if that's because maybe they thought Weeks fell off a little bit, or they saw something in this guy. But I mean, they made the move, so let's go through the CJ Stroud interview here from today. I'll share this tab instead when the ad stops. All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Suit for me. I like to be out there and, get hit once or twice or whatever just to, feel the emotion again. It's a little different than practice. So, but whatever, D'Amico decides, and I'm good with that.
That's him talking about playing the preseason game.
Game. So, personally, I don't see a difference just because he's been that way, but I think that's a good thing. But yeah, I'll definitely say, the other guys are starting to buy into him more.
Shout out Mr. James Charles on IG. Yo, what's good?
Yeah, it's a little different just because, I know, more coverages. I know, style, trees. I know coordinators. I played against a little bit of that, but not as much. It's a little easier. Yeah, just, being able to, see things that maybe coaches don't see. Being on the field, I'm able to have a different point of view. And I think that'll be helpful for our guys. And, it's still not going to, just be easy just because we say we're doing it. I'm going to make mistakes. Also going to, do things right. So it's just learning from my mistakes and trying to be better. Not really, because even when I wasn't technically doing that, I was still doing it just to know when I had to throw hot, know when I was getting blitzed. So it's the same thing now. It's just picking it up or learning. Doing the same thing but in a different manner. And yeah, so I changed it a little bit, but not a ton.
So it sounds like because you talking about ownership, and now it's, he says it's good because, hey, I'm on the field, I need to have the ability to do stuff, and so that's why it's good. And then they asked if it was different from before. And he says he makes it sound like he was doing it mentally, but wasn't allowed to actually. So yeah, so he's basically saying it's not different because I've been doing it in my head, but I haven't been allowed to actualize it. That's what I just took away. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And them. Most of the time not wanting to, so being hard on myself, what did I do wrong, for them not to let me play the game. So probably stems from that. But my siblings love me, I love them. But yeah, so it's a little bit of that, but yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. At times it can be, but I think I try to balance it. Dang, Pimpin', I'm just playing. You good?
I'm messing with you. That's funny. Somebody must have walked in late. Dang, Pimpin'.
To me, it's the same. At least you try to treat it the same. It's a little different. It's beautiful out here. The weather's great. Different, but cool. I like it. I'm a city guy, but I like the nature as well. It's cool. It breaks the monotony of camp, and you just bond with your teammates more. Ain't really much to do out here, so. Yeah, every day we're growing. We're, everything's starting to come a lot easier. We're starting to make more plays, know what guys are good at in the scheme, and trying to fit the guys to do those type of things. So, it's not overnight. So, our defense, they've been together for 3 years almost, a lot of the same guys. So, they're making calls and checks quicker sometimes than we can, and then it's vice versa. So, I think it's good. We're one of the best. I think the best defense in the league. And it's been hard, but it's also very great for us to get a good challenge every day. Yeah.
When it is difficult like that, going against the defense, or maybe a play doesn't go the way you want it to, how tough is it to still kind of take the lesson from the play, even if maybe this part of the play didn't go right, this worked, let's learn from that. How hard is it still to kind of take the lesson even if the play doesn't work?
Yeah, it's it's the difference. It's the balance between being a competitor and then being fall in love with the process and not or the progress and not the result in the moment. Because sometimes you can throw a ball and it look like a bad ball, but bad communication between myself and the receiver. So that's just one point of emphasis on having to work through those kinks because that's what comes in with like a newer scheme. So,
Been preaching that.
but yeah, other than that, like, you know, you still don't want to be turning the ball over or, you know, like see bad plays. But I think we've gotten past that part in camp, and you know now it's just like more competitive on both sides. And but yeah, you got to be able to still compete and like hold yourself to a standard that you're not gonna, you know, make mistakes. But when those things happen, learning from them and just having that balance. Yeah, it's dope to see those guys come back. You know, it's not always easy. You know, they feel like they're like isolated from the team, and I think the most important thing is just getting them around us and, you know, around the guys. And I think, you know, those guys are, you know, pivotal to our success. And so I'm excited to see those guys come back and, you know, work their tails off. Yeah, it's exciting. You know, it's very great. You know, he comes from a different style that, you know, that I'm used to, you know, at least in the NFL. So it's cool just to learn something new and put another tool in my toolbox. And yeah, I mean, it's another thing kind of, you know, to the other point was like sometimes in our scheme, our defense, you know, it's not going to work against them, but just to get the reps down, even though like it might not even work, like it helps. And I think he's very positive when it comes to that. He understands that. So I think
That's what I said. That's what I've been saying. Like in training camp, you run it no matter what, even though you know it's not going to work against this defense because you're not game playing. It's not a game. It's practice. So like again, there's multiple things he's saying here. Like, hey, all this points to like let's not overanalyze, you know, reports we're hearing about how bad offense is doing.
I think it's been great, you know, to just get down our foundation, and now we're building from like more of a game plan emphasis, and I think that'll be fun. I would just say like keeping the main thing, and staying focused on what got you there. I think a lot of times, you know, guys come to the league and could be coaching, it could be outside noise, but they change what they've been doing. And of course you have to like adapt, but I wouldn't say like, especially if you're getting picked in some of those top rounds at receiver, you like they picked you there for a reason. And I think like as coaching and as, you know, as a quarterback, we got to find ways, you know, make our receivers good in what they've been doing, and of course try to make them grow. But I think it's a big part on myself to, you know, get guys comfortable in the offense, in the scheme, and make them feel like they were in college, just having fun. I think, you know, that's where, you know, you get those plays and those type of seasons. So
Everything you're hearing about him and the scheme, like it just gives you so much. This is the way it's supposed to be. Like it's not like, hey, you fit this. Like no, we'll have this fit you. And this is a great point by Engineer. An underrated point is you have both Higgins and Noel coming in with the install of the new scheme. Hopefully they grow into it for the next decade. That's a great point. And like, you know, he talked about in those other interviews how Brady and Gronk, like they like had their ups and downs, like they had to evolve or like they were learning. Like it's a constant, you know, growth process. So that's a great point. And then JJ, yeah, I'm not too worried about the report. Similar reports to Stroud's rookie season, he ended up balling out regardless. Facts. Shout out 713 Collectibles on TikTok. And then the Big Toe says best defense. I agree. Big Toe says, how's O lineman looking? I mean, from my observation, they're not bad. They're doing good. You're not elite, but they're doing good enough.
I don't know. It's hard. I'm very competitive. I don't like losing. I don't like making mistakes. But I would say I just, you know, in those moments, try to just breathe, relax, try to just calm my mind, and, you know, just trying to just find something positive. Like, I always try to remind myself, like, this is cool. Like, I'm in the NFL, you know, like, you know, I don't, like, God didn't have to bless me with this, but he chose to, and I got to steward it the right way. And I don't think, like, complaining about, I can complain every day if I really wanted to, but, like, there's no positive in that. So I try to just try that and just be grateful for the little things. And even though they're not little, they're huge, they're big. Like I woke up this morning, you know, and I'm able-minded, able-bodied, and I'm just blessed to have that. So I would say that helps me be more positive and have better body language. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so we heard that one. Let's see.
A little turned up. Well, not a, but he helps me. I help him, I think. I think every game you can find something. It's really just like learning the tree and like who the defensive coordinator is. Is like see a D line guy, see a backer guy, see a a DB guy. Because a lot of times, like they try to like make plays for their babies, which is their like position group. And that's something that I try to remember. And sometimes guys just call whatever, and you don't know. So it's a million different type of defenses, and you try to just learn your foundational stuff and then grow from there. So it's really about what you do to help control that. But yeah, it's not easy. There's a lot of smart guys. I think some of the best guys I've faced. I'm not gonna go there because they're gonna put on ESPN. So thanks.
Yeah, so that was a good interview, man. CJ is a great interview. Engineer says people hyping up Josh Simmons, so I did some digging, and he's doing well against second string and third string DN. Why are people sheep sometimes? I mean, I was kind of, I just like would see like the hype and then be like, dang, and I'm not like upset because we didn't draft him. I didn't even want us to draft a tackle. I'm just worried that the Chiefs might have like a stud, but I guess, we're prisoners of the moment, even though I contradict myself a lot. But yeah, we see a clip and we hype it up. But yeah, that's a good point. Good reminder. But yeah, that's all I got. I guess before we go, I can kind of show you the website real quick. If y'all haven't been, I'm going to try to start ramping up activity on here. One thing I want to do is to start getting like the community going on here. If anybody's interested in participating on it, but let me see if I can maximize this screen, make it bigger. There we go. So obviously got the articles, which I'll start ramping up soon. I like to do analytical pieces. I'll try and do news pieces, but mostly analytical pieces. The newsletter right here, free, subscribe. But this is the part that I'm going to try and get going is the forum. I understand it's like hard. We already interact on so many things, but if you want to create a profile, we can, start talking about stuff on here, just kind of get, like a new forum going for whatever kind of talk and content. You can add GIFs and videos and all kind of stuff on here. You can create your own profile, which is up here. And you can kind of have like, it can be like your link tree where you can have all your stuff and you can use that and put it in your profile. And if you want, we're going to have like a section where you can start writing like your own articles on here. Just trying to make it like a community for people to go to. As always, I have like the video tab where I pretty much find all the important videos up to date, whether it's through my channels. You can watch all my content on here, or, all the interviews we just watched, they're all on here. I find all the stuff and put it here so you don't have to go looking for it. It'll find you. It's endless content. So if you want to watch Texan stuff, all right there. And then this is links. This is all my stuff. It needs to be fixed. We're still working on it now, but these are all the, different people in the Texans community. If you need to find their stuff. And yeah. And then obviously the store is on here. I'll be adding stuff. Got the new Carlos Correa tee. It's time. I just got mine. It'll be coming in soon. I'll be wearing it. I got it. I want to burnt orange. See how that looks. So, but yeah, so I'll be adding more Texan stuff. There's Astros stuff, but if you have merch you want to put on here, the bullpen, James Roy, shout out James. He's on here. I got his stuff on here. But yeah, so I'll start adding more Texan stuff. But as of now, I got Nico, Sting, Hawk and Lock, Houston versus everybody. I got the Will, Aziz, another Aziz shirt, CJ shirts, Will and Daniil 713. So yeah, I'll add more stuff, get that rolling. Again, if you got any, yeah, here you go. You want the link? Let's see. It's just HoustonStressens.com. Let's see. I'll do it right here. HoustonStressens.com. Yeah, could I post it in here? Paste. There we go. Yeah, so I put it in there, and then if you want like the forum, like I get like, but if y'all want to, like, it's basically like a Discord, and we can all just go in there and just talk crap, like kind of how we're in here. We got our own little community. You go to forum, you may have to click this icon up here on the top and create a profile and sign in. You can sign in with Google or something, but Coach Jay on TikTok says Texans can't draft their lineman. I mean, they got some misses. Big Toe says CJ just blessing facts. But yeah, so let's see. I think that's all I got. Let's see. Read a couple comments. Simmons had best tackle film in this class without a doubt. Yeah, he just had the injury concerns and maybe personality potentially. JJ Ursery seems to be working out in camp, and if he turns out to work out in live games, Nick did the best thing in my opinion. Yeah, so I mean, you trade back and get him and Higgins. And then King Colby, how is Kenyon Green doing Eagles camp? Just curious. That's a great question. I don't know. I think he can do good, man. I think he can do good. So, and then Colby says, don't know if it's true, but someone in another chat said he wasn't great and is being pushed down the depth chart. Damn, that sucks. 119 doesn't patellar rupture is just too big of a risk to take on Simmons. Yeah, for me anyway, tough injury. Yeah, I agree with that. I get that. But yeah, that's all I got, man. I appreciate you guys. Y'all are the best. If y'all ever need anything, hit me up. Aside from that, I'll try and start going live more. I'll be live tomorrow on with Will Kunkel, so at noon. And then I'll have DJ Bieneme on next week. I'll try to start having local reporters on for quick 30-minute segments. And then JJ Moses, former Texans receiver, he'll be on the following Wednesday. So yeah, a lot of big stuff, a lot of big guests. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, be blessing.